left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, squad.
The staff will not just be presented with the responsibility for the crime prevention aspect of protecting the commuters, but will also have a responsibility for protecting the infrastructure. So what happens to the trains, what happens on the stations becomes part of that focus, because if we are to make our public transport work, we will need to have all aspects of it work. The stations have to be safe, the trains have to be run, we have to curb the metal theft and the vandalism, and the commuters need to be safe. Because if we cannot tick those boxes, we cannot make our public transport work, we cannot get vehicles off the road, we can't get people into public transport if they can't safely use the trains. And if we don't have our trains working in place, it's a huge burden on all the rest of the public transport infrastructure. So you have an incredibly important mission. I think everybody is acutely aware of the fact that our trains are currently under siege. There is a force, an entity, a person who is waging active war on our train infrastructure, and that is not just Prasa's problem. Whilst there might be the responsible agency, that problem affects all of us. It affects everybody who has family travelling on those trains, family members who have been attacked on those trains, and everybody who is not able to get to work or otherwise because of what's happening on that infrastructure.
I'm particularly pleased that today we are taking this step to celebrate the deployment of 71 people onto our train networks to protect our commuting citizens. Now, the vast majority of citizens in this greater Cape Town area commute to work and back. And very few can do it with the absolute security that they're going to get to the other end safely. We used to have almost double the number of people using our trains every day 15 years ago than we do today. So while the congestion has increased and while the economy has grown and while the number of people has grown dramatically in the greater Cape Town area, the number of people using our trains has dropped. And so we've given 60 million rand from the province and 60 million rand from the city, and we're very pleased to hear that Prasa will come on board with their 60 million rand to try and do something to ensure the safety of our commuters. Now, people are always the most important to us. And so please look after our people. Equally important is that people should be able to ride on trains that they can rely upon to get them from A to B.
I'm really relieved that we are at this point. I think that we are witnessing, as I said, Metrorail collapsing before our eyes, and if they collapse completely, it will be too ghastly to contemplate for our city. Over the last financial year, Metrorail lost 2.5 million passenger trips a month because the service is declined, the capacity has declined, and people are finding it unreliable and unsafe. So we need to stabilize the service, allow Metrorail to refurbish those trains that are burnt without losing any more trains, and we need our commuters to feel safe to use the service so that we can get people who moved from trains to road to move back to trains. And so you really are, as the Premier said, the front line of this turnaround strategy. And if we can demonstrate that 100 officers were able to make an impact, even if it's on one line to start, and to turn that tide, then I think we have a good case for why we need to expand this unit to a much bigger unit, because the network is vast. So you really have a massive responsibility on your hands. I know that you are able to honor that responsibility. And it is, for those of you who use the trains, you will understand the circumstances under which our residents are commuting, and that's why we stepped beyond our mandate and are funding something that is way beyond our mandate, is because the commuters are our residents and they are struggling every single day to get to work or to get to where they need to be in a safe, dignified environment. And so please take on this task with the responsibility and the diligence that it requires, because you are the starting point of what I hope is going to be a much bigger unit once we've demonstrated that having effective law enforcement on the rail system will stabilize the rail system and allow us to rebuild its capacity and bring people back onto rail.